guys, and welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, in the spirit of Contender Series Season 9, I believe it is, starting up tomorrow. Listen kid, tune into the fights. These are some badass prospects that are probably going to get fucking fraud checked in their debut, but tune in. Contender Series starts tomorrow. I love Contender Series. Contender Series is awesome. It's just cool to like have fights to watch at another time other than just the Saturday, and it's kind of like a different environment. Because even though we all hate the Apex, I actually like the Apex for Contender Series. Like, it's like a little kind of refined, private environment, you know, private area where these badass kids come and they fucking they scrap for 5 and 5, and we don't sign them. So like, I don't know, just I'm yapping, but you know what I mean. Anyway though, I haven't actually told you the video, but you should know already if you have eyes and clicked on it because you looked at the thumbnail and the title. But we are going to be looking back to last year's Contender Series season, where they obviously had 10 weeks as per usual and signed a bunch of fighters, but pretty much all of which we've seen, a few of which we haven't. But yeah, we're going to be ranking, I believe there's 43, 44, something around in the early mid-40s in terms of signees. There has been a few other ones. For instance, guys like Michael Aswell and Gage Young will not be on this tier list because they did not win and they were not signed off Contender Series. They were used as fill-ins for short notice replacements. Anyway though, enough yap. Let's get the video underway. Over under 24.5. Also, yeah, UFC's with Paramount now, no pay-per-views. I didn't really like want to do an individual video just for that. I already posted it on the community page. I was like first to that shit. I saw that like 2 minutes after it had been posted by Dana White and the UFC. But that's really cool. So good job, Americans. No more illegal streaming for you. Listen, kid, I'm coming for the fucking money, you piece of shit. They're going to federal prison. Federal fucking prison. Anyway, let's get underway. So, we're starting off, let me tell you about this kid, Kevin Vallejos. This kid's a fucking savage. This kid's a problem. He's going to win the belt. We will be beating Gene Silva in the rematch. No, but Kevin Vallejos, and also, some of you guys, for clarity, I will be ranking this based off divisional prospects. Like, this is not who is a more skilled fighter necessarily. Like, you might see a heavyweight in the second top tier and be like, this guy's a bum. And I'll say, yes, you're correct. But heavyweight is full of bums, so therefore his ceiling is much higher than a technically skilled lightweight who will have no chance of making the rankings because that division is just fucked. Like, you can't get into the rank. There's a backlog of a queue, bro. It's like, any Australians, it's like if you're on the waiting list for the fucking MCG members, which I am. I was put on that shit when I was 6 years of age. And I'm probably going to be on it by the time I'm 30, bro. Like, there's just like just a backlog, you know. But regardless, in terms of getting into the lightweight rankings. But talking about Vallejos, one, he's young. That's another thing. Also, again, what I'm ranking these on, how good I see your future as. It's not necessarily who is the best right now. It's like who has the most promise, who will make it the furthest in their division. The fact that Vallejos is literally like 22, 23 years old, like young as in his game, already good. So it's not like he has to have a bunch of development time fighting cans to get himself ready. Like, he looks good. Like, I'm not saying he's ready for like top 5 right now, but like, he looks top 25 caliber. Like, he looks top 15 caliber already, in my opinion. You don't want to rush him just in case, but that's the thing with Vallejos. He's a guy that you can kind of just chuck around the outside area of the rankings, and then by the time he's 25, you start looking at ranked opponents. We don't need to see this dude fast-tracked up the division. We're not short on contenders at featherweight. We don't need to speed run some Gene Silva rematch that can happen whenever down the line. But yeah, Vallejos definitely one of the better prospects off Contender Series, top 3 in my opinion. Anyway, let's move on. Next up, we've got Jose Delgado. Let me tell you, another featherweight. Kid's a savage. I picked him in his debut, of course, and I picked him as a slight favourite, but kind of felt like people were picking Haider Emil to beat him. And this man just slapped Haider Emil in like 2 seconds. Like, crazy stuff. I like this guy. He's aggressive. He's explosive. He's long, you know. No, okay, I'm taking the piss. No, but like he's got a very dangerous like finishing style on the feet, and he seems like pretty solid, pretty well rounded. I'm not like, again, right now, is he ready? Probably not, but he's in his 20s. It's not like he's 33 and we need to rush him up the rankings now and give him fucking Josh Emmett in his next fight. Like, we can chill with him for a little bit. Not quite as young as Vallejos, of course, but I would definitely say he's got top 5 or at least top 10 in his future. And also, like, I could just load up on the middle tiers for all these guys, but I can't put everyone in the same tier. I need to have, like, the tiers need to be even. You need to understand me. Anyway, let's move on. Next up, Talison Teixeira. Look, he's not good, but he's 25 and he's fighting at heavyweight, and that division has a total of, like, 22 people. So, like, he'll be a top 15 guy for years to come, just via, again, he's young, he's not morbidly obese, and he has fundamental, like, he has a base in terms of, like, he's like 6'7", got a massive reach. He got chinned by Lewis, but, like, again, he's young, inexperienced. So, Teixeira, give him a couple years, he'll be sticking around the rankings. Anyway, next up, Andreas Gustafsson. I think he's quite good, and I think he's got a very effective game plan. And it's like, if you give him the right matchup straight away, he could get top 10. Like, I think it gives Leon Edwards trouble. Just my opinion. And there's some guys in the back end of the rankings at welterweight who I don't think are that good. And that's the thing with some of these divisions. They have a free entry pass to the rankings, whereas some divisions, there's just no such thing. But Gustafsson, he's like in his mid-30s, which I don't love. Like, that's a bad... that's what Dana even said when he signed him, is I don't like signing 35-year-olds, like, or however old he is. Maybe he's younger, I'm not sure, but he's definitely not in his 20s. And so, like, if you're in your mid-30s and you're like, obviously not his fault, he's got one fight, but like, if you're not ranked yet and it's your mid-30s in a division that has a massive backlog of contenders and you're not even eyeing a top 15 opponent, like, it's hard for me to say that you have like a really good future in the sport. Anyway, let's move on. Next up, Josias Musasa. Yeah, buddy, you got packed up by Carlos Vera. Look, he's athletic and he does have some skills. He kind of just got clipped and fluked, but so I'm not going to say he's just a complete bum, but hard for me to be that high on him after that debut. I think he's booked. I think he's fighting Colby Thickness on the Australia card, so that'll be an interesting test. Next up, though, Bruno Lopez. This guy lost to Magomed... No. He got chinned by Brenson Ribeiro on the previous season of Contender Series when Ribeiro got signed. And then he came back and he fought some dude and he won. And he got signed. He's not even good. And then he smudged Gagiazulov against the fence for like 5 minutes, for 15 minutes, sorry, and won a decision. And then he fights Dustin Jacoby and gets put in a bag. So yeah, I don't know why he was signed in the first place. He's a bum. Anyway, next up, this fat fuck, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Some Ukrainian dude, I think he actually trains at Shootbox though. He got a kind of fluky, he was a massive underdog against some dude who was in shape and he's not, so like, yeah, that's the basis for that line in the betting front. But he got some fluky ass win, whatever, it was exciting. Dana signed him, big underdog. Dana loves when you're a big underdog and you win. There's like 3 paths to getting signed. Like, it used to be like high standards, now it's like, get an early finish, you're signed. Get a highlight reel finish, you're signed. Win a fun fight, you're signed. Lose a really fun fight, and you might even get signed. Like, those are the 3 pathways. It's like, if you win a mid but like technical decision, they ain't signing you. Unless you're a heavyweight, they kind of just sign all these heavyweights. And then if you win like a kind of unimpressive later rounds win that was just not fun, like, if you smudge against the fence, he will not sign you. But just be fun and just take damage, and even if you lose, you'll probably get a call back. Anyway, again, and then, sorry, this guy, the reason we haven't seen him is because he popped for PEDs. Why is it always the fat, and then they just released him? I think that's a fair thing. If you pop for PEDs as a Contender Series guy before you have even made your debut, yeah, you can get the fuck out and never come back. Like, if you can't even lay off the sauce until you're at least on the active roster, like, yeah, buddy, you need to call it quits. Anyway, though, back up to the top tier, or second top tier, I should say, Elijah Smith. Again, the age is the factor. You might be like, oh, is Elijah Smith very good? I'm like, no, I'm not saying right now. Like, right now, he'd lose to probably everyone ranked. But, like, dude, he's 22. He's 22 years old, and bantamweight is not as strong of a division as you think. Like when you got like Jonathan Martinez and Kyler Phillips and shit hanging around the back end of the rankings, and you got like Rob Font and Chito Vera in the top 10. Dude, I'm telling you, Elijah Smith in like 5 years' time is going to be a top 10 guy. And like, if he can improve effectively and work on the weaknesses in his game, he's so young and he's got athleticism on his side as well. So, I think Elijah Smith's got a good future in the sport. Next up, though, let's move on. Mario Pinto. This kid. Again, heavyweight, KO potential in your 20s. You'll go far, kid, let me tell you. Anyway, though, let's move on. Next up, Quillen Salkilld. I think he's very good, and he's clearly a better fighter than Taliesin Teixeira and Mario Pinto. But again, this is what I'm saying. We're grading on a curve here. Do I think he'll be able to crack the rankings? It's a tough ask. Like, he could. He's technical. Cardio was not my favourite against Yanal Ashmuz, I should say. You're gassing against an Israeli? Come on, buddy. We can't be having that. No. We can do better than that. So I needed to see better cardio there. He slept Jubilee. He redeemed Jubilee. But, like, I think, is he booked? I think he's booked. If not, he'll definitely be booked on the Australia card. That's when you'll see him and Mikalev and Thickness and all these guys. Will be fun, but no name value apart from the main event, really. But Quillen Salkilld, again, it's like when you've got the guys at the back end of the rankings, or the young, like if we're looking at the younger portion of lightweights, right, out like towards the back end-ish, like Bahamondes, Mauricio Rufi, Nazim Sadikov, Esteban Ribovic, like all these guys, it's like, is Salkilld going to sneak himself into that group? Not sure. I hope so, but I can't be confident. Next up, though, Bogdan Grad. Yeah, ceiling has been pretty firmly established around that top 30 range, I should say. Nick Klein, actual fucking bum. Like, dude, he got an early finish, so he got signed, and he made the joke of, oh, John Jones is pound for pound number one, and Dana laughed and signed him. He's a bum. He was plus like 800 in his fucking debut against Mansour Abdul Malik. Made Mansour look mid. I'll talk about Mansour in a second. But then he goes out there in his next fight against Andre Pelaev. Ragdolls him a little bit in round one because Pelaev's a fucking wet rag. He's a noodle. And then he gets absolutely folded in the second. After a medium-paced grappling match. He just gets absolutely crumpled. Just gasses the fuck out and dies. Anyway, next up, Artem Vatakov. Haven't seen him again. These guys down the bottom are not all bad, by the way. Like, Vatakov is a very good striker, clearly. If you don't know, now you know. So far, I'll go through all of them as we go. So far, reason 1, we didn't get to see the Ukrainian guy. He popped for roids. Reason 2, we didn't get to see Vatakov. He just said, no, I'm not accepting your 10 for 10 contract. I'm going to go and fight Rico Verhoeven and make fuck tons of money. Like, you can fuck off if you're offering me 10 for 10. Like, Paddy tanked the pay cut to come over here, but like Vatakov is not like he's not going to be good at MMA. Like Vatakov would lose to fucking Volkan Ozdemir. Like Vatakov is not like a Paddy who they can build him up and he's got time and he can become a contender. Like he was signed at the time Pereira was champ. He was solely signed as like hey, if we need someone to fight Pereira, get Vatakov in there and we can just give him like Johnny Walker and then he'll KO him and then we'll just give him a title shot. But he's like, no, I'm not accepting your fucking 10 for 10 contract. And he just left. Which I respect. Anyway, let's move on. Malcolm Wellmaker, dude. Probably like one of the most hyped up. Like, if we're ranking like hype just on the broad fan base, it's probably him, Ateba Gautier, and it's probably Islam Dulatov. Because like, Vallejos hasn't been put in front of a crowd yet. Hardcore's no, he fought Gene Silver. But like, if you're talking like, who you're seeing TikTok edits of, like who you're seeing the TikTok comment sections be like, dude, this guy beats O'Malley, bro, or some shit. Like, you're seeing that with Malcolm Wellmaker, who really does look like he's got star potential from what we're seeing early in his career. But the thing is, he's like 30. That's the one issue. He's like, if he was 25 and already doing this and looking this sharp and just killing everyone, I'd be like, alright, but champion. Like, could be. Maybe not guaranteed, but like, could be a champion. He's I think he's 31. And that's something people ain't going to know about Malcolm Wellmaker, is his age, which is why I'm high on his skills, and he looks ready now. Like, it's not like he's it's similar to the Prates. I'm comparing Malcolm Wellmaker to a Carlos Prates-esque in terms of like the vibe. Like, comes in, get a little bit too. Obviously, Prates had his losses. Like I tried to fucking combine the names. Malcolm Wellmaker is undefeated. But it feels a similar kind of thing. Like, he's just absolutely killing everyone early, highlight reels, right? He probably takes a loss sooner rather than later. I'm not trying to spoil, but like, if he does get that big jump up to like a Sandhagen type or some shit in like a year's time, I think like he probably loses. But for sure, top 5 is the ceiling. But yeah, like, you're 31, only just turned-ish like a month or two ago. But that's like, you don't have a lot of time. Again, like, it's not like he's deep into his career, so he's gonna be like, he's suffered a bunch of damage and stuff. So it's like, when you do see these guys come along, that's the difference with Prates, though. It's like, he's already had a massive career in Muay Thai and shit, and just fighting a whole bunch. Like, he's like 22 and like 6 or some shit. But Wellmaker's only 10-0, so it's like, you're oldish in terms of age for a prospect, but in your career, you're not that old. So Wellmaker definitely up there. Anyway, let's move on. Next up, David Martinez, another bantamweight. Good, very good. What's the age looking like? I think he's like 27, so on the better side. I think his opponent, he was supposed to fight Carlos Vera. Would have been crazy if he fought Vera and lost, if Vera just fraud-checked Josiah Musasa and David Martinez. But Martinez looks good, the boxing looks good, doesn't quite have that like X factor, so I'll put him a fraction lower, and he probably won't get as many of the opportunities as a result. But still very, very high on David Martinez. Jonathan Mikhailov, I thought this dude was a bum. Like, I thought this guy was going to be so mean. I picked Kevin Gisette to beat him. He low-key schooled Kevin Gisette. So we'll see what he's doing. He says he's got fight news soon. Obban Elliott said he's got fight news soon. Maybe that's the fight. If he goes out there and schools Obban on the feet, because I know Obban got taken down a bunch in his last fight. But he's looked pretty decent on the feet so far. So if he goes out there and schools Obban on the feet, like, definite, like, ranked potential in Mikhailov again. I don't know how old he is. I'd imagine in his 20s. But he won by submission on Contender Series. And again, I kind of looked at him and I was like, he's just one of those guys. Like, I don't know. But no, he looks decent. His striking is pretty good. He's got good kicks. But I don't watch him and be like, oh yeah, you're just that ahead of the competition to the point where, like, yeah, I'm thinking you're like top 5. So yeah, Mikhailov's solid. Anyway, let's move on. We got Cody Steele. Cody Steele also fought on that 312 card. He lost, however. He was a big favourite. He was kind of everyone's prospect. I think he was undefeated at the time, I believe. Jiu-jitsu background, but just immediately starts chucking hands. Like, he got a body shot finish, I believe, from memory on Contender. And I forget his backgrounds, but like, they already knew who he was. I don't exactly, maybe he'd been on there before, I'm not sure. I haven't checked the records, but from memory, body shot knockout, I believe, on Contender, and then he comes in there against Rong Ju and just spams hooks in the pocket and just gets outstruck and loses. Like, fucking good job, buddy. So that was questionable. Anyway, next up, Dr. Nurgaje. Dr. Nurgaje is a bum. Yeah, you got subbed by Ribeiro. This dude's got Tourette's for touching his eye. It's real fucking weird. I don't know what the fuck the kid's doing. I don't know if he's got Tourette's. He's fighting Urran Salty Boldiev, so we'll see how that goes for the kid. Anyway, next up, what's this guy's name? I think his name is Kevin Christian. No one knows who the fuck this guy is. In the comments, let me know if you knew this guy was signed. Because, no, what happened was, I searched up 2024 Contender Series signees. So I was like, alright, I got all of them. Get their fucking image, put it in the tier list, right? And then I go back and I was like, hey, I forgot about this guy's fight. I'm like, I do not remember. Like, am I wrong? Are you guys, like, let me know. I remember a lot of these guys' fights. I remember, like, other fights that neither of the guys got signed. Like that Nick Piccincini or whatever fight against that other kid. Like, I remember guys who were fought that didn't get signed. This guy got signed because I went back and rewatched, when Laura Sanko says to Dana, what did you think about the week? Who are we signing? And he lists everyone off. He critiques their performances, whatever, signs them or doesn't. And he started talking about Kevin Christian. He's like, yep, 6'7", didn't use a jab, looked kind of shit. but Mick Maynard wanted you. And I was like, oh, what the fuck? He didn't get signed. Why was he on here? And then he's like, oh, but Mick Maynard wanted you. So my guess is either, and I might not have been caught up with this, either they just changed their mind and said no, or they just somehow haven't got, which is weird, cause, no, like, surely they just changed their mind and said no. So far, by my logic, we've got a PED test, we've got a denial of pay by the fighter, and then we've got the UFC just changed their mind. Because he hasn't been booked. He has not been booked. If you look at his Tapology, he hasn't been booked. So we'll see what's going on with Kevin Christian, but I don't know. Anyway, kid's a problem. Anyway, though, let's move on to the next tier. Next up, Ate Bogotier. Now, Ate Bogotier is very unproven. Like, he's killed probably two of the worst fighters on the roster. Valentin's sick. He's fun. I'm not sure how good he is. Can we do him versus Eric McConaughey? Can we do what's it called? What's the kid's name? Fuck, I just forgot. Valentin versus Eric McConaughey. Just because I need to see if he can win a fight in the UFC. Because like he's beaten Jose Medinho and Robert Valentin, and he's about to whoop up Ozzy Diaz. So like he might just have achieved 3 wins over like 5 of the worst fighters in the middleweight division. So it's like, he looks scary, he's got crazy power, he's killing dudes early, he's marauding, but like, and he looks technical as well. He doesn't, people saying Ngannou 2.0, Ngannou was swinging like a retard, looking like a street beefs fighter in his first fights. He just had power, so he won. Ate Bogotier, like, did they ask this dude, who's your idol, like, who do you look up to fighting wise? Ngannou, and like that's what they assumed, and he's like, no, Lerone Murphy. It's like, that's a terrifying fucking answer for a dude who hits that hard to say his idol of fighting is Lerone Murphy, because he trains with him. If you combine the technique of Lerone Murphy with the power of Ngannou, or even half the power of Ngannou, you've got a very fucking terrifying individual. So the grappling is a question. He did get taken down by that Jap on fucking Contender series. But like overall, physical dude, the base is there again, young. If he was 35 or some shit, and he was like, oh, he's 30, 27, 28, like I'd be like, I'm not overly sold. The fact that he's literally like in his early 20s at middleweight as well, not like flyweight where there's a bunch of young guys like Van, Saruya, Ochoa, all those guys, Kavanagh, like. Middleweight's a division where there's not a lot of young guys. Like it's just a lot of unks and a lot of bums, outside the rankings. He's just gonna clean up shop with everyone, and like as long as they don't rush him into like a Petrosky fight with his takedown defense not sorted out, like he needs to be like actively working anti-wrestling. Which hopefully he is, because if he does, and if he's got a good takedown defense, yeah, the division's cooked. Anyway, though, let's move on to the next fighter. Next up, we got to speed through some of these. Myself, I'm thinking I'm like a top 5 guy. I'm trying to be humble. I don't think I might not become champion, but maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow. I promise you, man. We will become champions someday, man. Hey, Austin Bashi, we will be ranked. We took our loss to C-Rod. That's just our bounce back. We lost. Everyone loses. If you got an O next to your name, we might need to give C-Rod a fighter with no wins to see if he's taken all sorts of O's. But yeah, Austin Bashi again, young as fuck, got that grappling base. If he can work the wrestling even more, it looked good against the bum. But like if he can be performing like that against like a Julian Erosa type guy or something, or an Andre Feely type guy down the line, like we're looking at a really good fighter. And again, young, and it's also me, so we will be supporting him. Anyway, next up, Alexia Tainaria, a women's fighter who has finishing ability. Just fucking roll out the red carpet, you'll be top 10. Next up, who's this? Seok Hung Ko, the kid that out-wrestled Oban Elliott. Now, is Oban shit, or is Seok Hung Ko really good? Because his Contender win wasn't phenomenal. But he looked pretty good, and he was like just the most unassuming guy ever. Again, another guy where I just forgot his Contender fight. Like I just did not remember this dude. I didn't watch every single episode of Contender or every single fight. A lot of them, because last year I was in finishing year 12, so I was like, all these episodes are like all the Contender series on Wednesdays. They're Tuesday in US, Wednesday Australia. It's all happening during the middle of the day when I'm at school, so I can't really, because time difference, so I can't really like watch everything. So I don't think I actually remembered this guy's fight, which is why I was surprised when he just ragdolled Oban Elliott. Anyway, Mansour Abdul Malik. This is another guy that I've said is fucking mid as hell. I've heard people being like, Mansour's a problem, bro. I'm like, no, Mansour's just a budget Atiba Gauthier. Cool, you beat Dusko Todorovic. And it's like, but the difference with Gauthier is he's just killing pretty much everyone. With his Mansour looked mid against Klein. I was willing to be like, okay, whatever. Got big for your boots, bit too comfortable. Klein showed you a little bit of trouble. But Klein's awful. Klein's dog shit. If Klein had gone out there and won his next 3 fights after that, I'd be like, okay, good win. Also, he just drew with Cody Brundage and didn't even look good, and Brundage just lost to Eric McConaughey. Questionable, yes, but still. I don't know if we're rating Abdul Malik at all. Anyway, Louis Garule is next up. Yeah, kid got slimed out by Ode Osborne. Kid got slumped by Ode Osborne. Just pack it up. Anyway, next up, Ahmed Hassanzadeh. Now, the reasons keep getting more insane. Because we've had a PD test failure. We've had a refusal of pay. We've had a UFC changed their mind. And this is the most insane reason of all. Because you want to know why Ahmed Hassanzadeh was pulled from his scheduled bout against Evan Elder at UFC Kansas City? No, the video didn't pause. I was just taking a breath. This kid not the kid. He's doing things to the kid. Ahmed Hassanzadeh, this fucking scumbag. I'm not even joking. This actual scumbag disgrace of a human should be burnt alive. Was accused or charged. I don't know the situation. Convicted, not sure. Whatever. Charged with raping a minor. Charged with sexual misconduct with a child. Again, not sure. Maybe I've misworded that, in terms of the first part. But, bad shit with someone underage. All I'm going to say. Well. Take a look at the face. Listen to the name. Shouldn't surprise you. These people never manage to disappoint. Anyway, next up, Rizvan Guniev. It's heavyweight. You're decent. He's half decent. He almost beat Blades. So yeah, you're probably top 5, top 6-ish caliber. Next up, Jacoby Smith. Again, young-ish. And again, it's just welterweight being mid. Welterweight being low-key just dog shit is not dog shit. It's very good in the top 10, but that bottom 5 area, Kevin Holland until recently was ranked. D-Rod is ranked. You're telling me Jacoby Smith wouldn't probably fucking beat D-Rod in a year's time? I don't think he's that good, and I think he looked mid against, what's the kid's name? Nico Price. But he did sleep Preston Parsons. He does have athleticism. He does have a good base. He just needs to kind of get his game working a bit. He's very green, so if you can sort that out, very good fighter. Cody Haddon, a little mini JDM, but a little bit worse in all areas. A little bit less dangerous with the hands. A little bit more susceptible with the grappling. A little bit better offensive grappling, I'll say though. Cody Haddon, JDM doesn't really offensively grapple, but Cody Haddon, haven't seen him fight in a while. He was supposed to fight Top Torio on 312, pulled out. I don't know if he's booked again. Hopefully we get him on the... Again, I haven't been keeping up with a lot of these random fight night fight announcements. But yeah, he's solid. Anyway, Torres Finney. I don't want to make this video go on for too long, so I'm not going to yap about Finney, but I'm just going to say no, because I could say bum. He has skill. No, he doesn't have skill. I take that back. He has athleticism, which is more than I can say for all these guys in the tier below, really. What the fuck was that Valentine fight, bro? I'm sorry. Are you that pathetic as a fighter that you need to legitimately cling on to your opponent without throwing a single strike? What was that? Anyway, I'm not going to talk about him for too much longer. Jordan Santos, or Jorgen Santos, I don't know, Jorgen, his name's spelled weirdly. Yeah, you lost Ozzy Diaz. I thought he won, but still, just bum behaviour. Beat Will Curry. Will Curry's a bum. MMA Guru will have you convinced all these UK prospects are good. George Hardwick's shit. Will Curry's shit. Most of them are shit. Just a few of them sneak through that are good. Lona Kavanagh's good. Some of the lighter weight class guys are good. This man was hyping up George Hardwick like he's the fucking future GOAT of the sport. Kid lost to Abdul Karim Al Salwadi. who might not even be with the promotion anymore. Anyway, though, let's move on. Next up, Alberto Montez, I believe the kid's name is. Let me make sure I got that right. Alberto Montez sounds right. Or something. Montez sounds right. Montez? I don't know. Alberto Montez, I think that's his name. He, I don't believe, has been released or anything like that. He just pulled out of his fight. He was supposed to fight Roberto Romero. Kid pulled out. What can you say? Kid doesn't want to fight. I can't force him to fight. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't really seen much of his fight, so I can't tell you about him. Anyway, let's move on. Next up, Marco Tulio. Now, again, will Marco Tulio make top 5? Like, probably not. But again, I have to even out these tiers because I can't just dump everyone in the middle tier. Tulio's real good, though. Like, I know Trayshawn Gore's not very good, and that's his best, like, UFC win. But, like, he beat Belgarui. And then they didn't sign him because Dana was salty that he beat Belgarui because they wanted to sign Belgarui because they're just obsessed with the idea that Glory Kickboxer is some fucking heralded title that is, like, unachievable. Like, brother, if you get a manager and he signs you up to a fight in Glory, you can be technically a Glory Kickboxer. Like, I know Belgarui is very good, but, like, dude, being a good kickboxer does not translate to being a good MMA fighter. It can happen on occasions. Doesn't happen with everyone. Tulio beat up Belgarui. Dana was salty, so then they made Tulio come back and he beat up some French dude named Duclos or whatever. Beat him up, got the contract. He was supposed to fight Michel Pereira in like 2 weeks. Disappointed he pulled out. We'll see, maybe he'll get it on the Rio card. But Tulio's real good. Anyway, let's move on. Who do we have next? Let me have a check, mate. Let me fucking have a look. Who's after Marco Tulio on my screen if it wants to load? Yadier Del Valle. Beat Conor Matthews, undefeated. What's it called? Need to see him fight Christian Rodriguez just to know how good he is. Because if you beat C-Rod as an undefeated fighter, you might actually just be the GOAT. Like, we might then and there just have to put you like top 5 featherweight GOATs if you can beat C-Rod as an undefeated fighter. But Del Valle's good, again, like dynamic striker, solid grappling from what I've seen. Pretty well-rounded, looks like it. Anyway, next up, let's move on. So I got confused before, I don't know what the fuck happened, but pretend this is Navajo Sterling. Just swap them around. So Navajo Sterling, similar sort of situation. Light heavyweight's a way weaker division, so like, again, he's young-ish, he can probably just make it up into like that back end of the rankings range, just via being relatively athletic. We'll see, though. And then after that, we've got Andrei Pulayev. I mean, he's better than Nick Klein, is all I'll say. Then Daniel Frunza is the next up on the tier list. This kid lost to Reese McKee. He got butchered in like 10-7 by Reese McKee. That's tough. And then we're going to go... I'll just chuck Belgarui on here. He didn't actually get signed after his win, but he's now signed, I guess. So, I don't know. I'll just put him on here because the bottom tier needed an extra couple guys. And let's move on. Next up, Lona Kavanagh. Lona Kavanagh. I don't know why the fuck I said his name like that. Yeah, this guy's real good. You know, I think Van would beat him, and I think Pantoja obviously right now would beat him. A lot of guys right now would beat him. But again, younger, 25, got a good, solid striking base. And at flyweight, it just feels like when Pantoja leaves, like, all these younger dudes are going to be getting title shots. I'm not saying, again, this is not me saying, like, will be future champion. This is me putting, this tier is called champion potential. So that is what I see in Lona Kavanagh, 100%. Then we got Islam Dulatov. Again, will he be top 5? Probably not, but I just have to even out these tiers. And then what are we going to do here? Let's have a look. Next up, Nicole Kalari, I guess I'll put her. And then I'm going to swap Sterling up a tier because light heavyweight's dog shit. And then we're going to put Yanisi Dubin in no future because she's mid. And then we're going to put Cortavius Romeus in bum because that's what he is. And then we're going to end the tier list. I'm sorry to skim through it. I like keeping videos under a certain length, which keeping it under 35. So there we go. Went 10 minutes over the over, so cash those bets. Anyway, guys, like and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed. What would you change about this tier list? Ignoring the fact that I'm not gonna just dump everyone in the middle tier, where if I'm being realistic, they probably would be, and there'd be less people in the very top. This year's Contender Series, again, hindsight will come down the road. We'll see, but looking pretty solid. Anyway, goodbye. Never mind, we got 14 more seconds. Looking pretty solid. Anyway, like, subscribe, all that shit. I'm going to also do a video ranking the different seasons of Contender Series in terms of who came off those as well. So look forward to that soonish.